Good morning, good evening. Kung nasaan ka man sa sa Pilipinas ka man o nasa ibang bansa ka man, good day sa inyo. So, I'm Attorney Pam and kasama ko rito si Attorney Jane. We will be talking about kung ano yung latest na pangyayari na we have observed dito sa opisina kasi marami na tayong ina-accept na o humihingi ng tulong actually. Humihingi ng tulong related to abuse, domestic abuse. So, Attorney Jane and I will be talking, medyo mag-storytelling kami ngayong araw. Kung ano ba yung ano ba yung VAWA na yan o ano ba yung pwede ba yung kaso ko magiging VAWA. So, we will talk about that. And then, we will explain kung ano yung mga kailangan nyo, ano yung ebidensya, bawa na ba ito o hindi, yon. Bakit ba nagbawa? In all those questions. Na baka may questions kayo, later on, you can reach out to our office and ask those questions and we can clarify those things with you. Pero marami kaming cases ngayon na they have been asking about those. Kung pwede or kung minsan sila talaga humihingi ng tulong. Kung minsan it's just sad to say na hindi sila namin matulungan na kaagad-agad kasi covered namin yung buong US eh. So kung minsan nasa ibang state sila. So hindi kami maka-physically punta doon or hindi kami, ang the most that we could do is locate yung shelter, locate yung, kung sabihin namin, o sige mag-report ka na sa police, ganon. So yan, so maraming katanungan ng ibang tao, maraming confusion. So we're here to clarify those. Okay? So this morning, i-discuss ko sa inyo yung ito yung mga yung mga story na it's a story of a girl na galing ng Pilipinas. So gustong pumunta dito o may boyfriend diyan or may boyfriend dito na nagpaplanong pumunta sa US. So be careful lang po. So there are some precautions and some preventive measures na i-explain namin sa inyo mamaya kung anong gagawin nyo before pa kayo pupunta dito. So those are the mga safety na actions to do before leaving the Philippines. And so eto si anong magandang pangalan na pwede natin ipapangalan sa person na ito. Okay. Si Marites, ganyan. Gawin natin si Marites. Si Marites, may boyfriend siya. Okay? Yung boyfriend niya, medyo siguro mga 5 years na sila na mag-boyfriend-girlfriend online. So yung boyfriend niya nagpapadala ng pera doon sa Pilipinas, nagbibisita sa Pilipinas din, and from time to time, pumupunta din sila siguro sa labas ng bansa. They went to Hong Kong, pumupunta din sa, I think, Tokyo ba yun? They travel together. Pero hindi pa siya pumunta, hindi pa nakapunta ng US. So yung niya, yung boyfriend niya, pinetitionan siya as fiancé. So pumunta siya, nakapasa siya sa fiancé niya, pumunta siya ng US. Everything was okay nung online relationship lang sila. Pero nang pumunta siya dito, it all started to unravel. Na siya, it started to, yung relationship starts to crumble, ganon, from small misunderstanding hanggang lumaki. And then, yung culture, nag-a-adjust siya sa culture, nag-a-adjust siya sa behavior ng asawa niya. So, there were times na, sasabihin na natin, in the first offense, second offense, ano lang yan, yung inaakala niya na adjustment, I just need to adjust sa person. Ito kasi yung ugali niya, hindi ko alam nung nagde-date kami na ganito pala yung ugali niya. So, it's just an adjustment on my part. So, si Marites naman, nag-a-adjust naman siya with all sa kanya, yung effort, nag-effort din naman siya. So, she tries to learn ng behavior dito, nagtatanong siya, ganun ba talaga dito? She made friends, usually sa grocery store kasi may nakita siyang Pilipino. Hi, hello, kamusta po? Bago lang ako dating dito. So they talk and then she made friends sa mga tao na yan. And then they also tell her kung ano yung nangyayari, kung ano talaga yung kultura dito. So, nag-a-adjust siya. Kaya lang, there are circumstances na hindi lang pala normal na ginagawa. Okay? So, yung issue that there were times na akala niya siya lang there were times na tawag nito, nag-chat yung ano niya, yung husband niya. Kasi after nag-fiancé na sila, pagdating niya rito, nagpakasal siya kasi mag-a-adjust na ng status eh. Habang hinihintay yung adjustment of status niya, may na-notice siyang kakaibang behavior sa asawa niya. Lagi nag-chat yung asawa niya, yung font ng computer, Attorney Jane, ang liit-liit, yung font size, maliit. So, hindi, kung nasa loob siya at she's walking from behind, hindi niya makikita kung ano yung pinag-uusapan kasi yung liit eh. And then the other instance is, pumupunta siya sa CR, ang tagal niya doon, 3 hours. Anong ginagawa niya sa CR na 3 hours? So those are the indicators na nagdududa na si Marites kung ano bang nangyayari. And then, the next one was, hindi na siya pwede siyang humiram ng cellphone. Siya yung nag-text o tumatawag, ginagamit yung cellphone ng asawa niya. Ngayon, hindi na pwede. Tapos, kung ano yung gustong gawin niya, dapat magpaalam siya sa asawa niya. The next thing na nangyari is, hindi siya binigyan ng pera. So, kung gusto niyang bumili, hindi pwede. O hihintayin muna kung kailan, kung saan, pwede niyang bilhin. Or kung minsan, hindi siya binibigyan ng pagkain. So, that's the turning point is when nung hindi na siya binigyan ng pagkain, na hihingi at hihiram siya ng pera sa kaibigan niya, tatawag siya na, ba't ganito? Yan. Then, yung nangyari is, may narinig na siyang kinakausap ng lalaki sa telepono. Yun na yun, na parang iba yung pakikitungo ng asawa niya. Na parang nagdi-date ba sa cellphone, yun, sa telepono. So kakaiba na yung nararamdaman ng babae. So when she tried to confront the husband, iba na yung sinabi ng husband na ba't mo ako binabantayan, ba't mo ako ganito, kung hindi sa akin, hindi ka nakarating dito sa US, dapat magpakabait ka kasi ako yung magfa-file ng petition mo, parang ganun. So it started from there, and then lumaki hanggang sa punto na nag-physical na. Nagbugbuganay na silang dalawa. Sinasabunutan na siya, linulublob na siya sa tub o kung saan. So physical na 'yan. So yung nangyari kay Marites is during those times, tumatawag na siya sa amin kung anong gagawin niya. Attorney, ano ba yung gagawin ko? Wala akong kaibigan dito na pwede kong puntahan. Wala akong kamag-anak na pwede kong makisuyo ako, kung pwede doon lang muna ako sa kanila. So, yan, that's the scenario. Ngayon, yung question nila, kadalasan sa mga ganitong katulad ni Marites, yung primary na problem nila is sino yung pupuntahan nila? Sino yung tutulong sa kanila? Saan sila kukuha ng pera? Kasi pag hindi ka binibigyan ng asawa mo ng pera, wala kang ATM, wala kang credit card, anong gagawin mo? Hindi ka pwedeng magbayad ng taxi na wala kang pambabayad. Hindi ka pwedeng pumunta, hindi ka bibili ng pagkain. Wala kang pera. Literally, wala kang pera. And then the worst case is meron kaming isang kliyente na iniwan siya sa bahay, pero lahat ng sulok ng bahay may camera. Yan, sa hallway meron, sa kwarto meron, sa kusina meron, sa garahe meron. Parang minomonitor ka 24 hours. That's the weird one. Tapos kung sino yung tatawagan niya, tatawag yung asawa niya from work. Sino kausap mo? Ba't mo siya kausap? Yan. So that's marami pang scenario, Attorney Jen. I think meron ka ring katulad ni Marites.
Yes.
Dyan. Oo.
Yeah. It's really sad to hear stories like this, but the reason why Attorney Pam and I decided to bring this out and discuss this on our video is because we wanted to make everyone who are coming over here to the US to be ready and to be aware and to be prepared that these things could happen, and they are sadly happening all over the US. Um, just on my part, I also have a client right now with the same sad story of, you start with a long distance relationship online, you find each other, and then you start talking, and then everything is so rosy and happy. And then you decide to come over and live a life together with that US citizen or permanent resident who is physically in the US. You leave everything behind. What's your comfort zone, your relatives, your support group, your friends, your work, your career, the very town where you grew up with, and then you come over here and you are a total stranger, not only physically but to the culture, to the economy, to the ways of life. And then you come alone, usually alone, and you don't have anyone whom you know in the neighborhood. So imagine you being treated like the way Attorney Pam is explaining. So in my case, may isa akong kliyente na who came to talk to us and ask for help because it started also with a long distance relationship. Very sweet, very supportive. Pinapadalan siya ng pera for the past 8 years. Very good provider. And of course, for the next coming 8 years, you'll start to realize now, oh, this could be the man of my dream because he's a provider. He really cares for me. Even if we have a long distance relationship, he's always present, video calling, texting, messaging, emailing, all this romantic and physical affirmations. And then she comes to the US on a fiancé again. So the very, very day that you come to the US and now you are in the physical control ng US citizen or permanent resident, this is when things start to happen. I'm not sure kung somewhere along the way there might be some indications na dahil in love ka or dahil you're looking forward to be in the US, baka dinisregard mo lang. May mga maliliit yan na temper tantrums, merong mga verbal abuses along the way. Kasi siyempre, for the past 8 years, I'm sure may mga hindi kayo pinagkakaintindihan dyan. Kaso, usually dinidisregard mo yan. Especially now, pagdating mo na sa bahay ng iyong fiancé. So, pagdating sa fiancé, one thing that our fiancé from abroad should understand is pagdating nyo sa US, you are under the direct control and at the mercy ng iyong pinagkakatiwalaan na fiancé. Why? Number one, you have to get married within 90 days. And they have the option, and you might as well have an option not to get married. Pero ikaw na nandito, iniwan mo lahat, and then usually it's a one-way ticket sa mga fiancé. Pagdating nila dito, ano ang mangyayari pag ayaw kang pakasalan ng fiancé mo? Dahil in the next 90 days, nang magkasama na kayo sa bahay, there are some realizations na, oh, I don't really like her. Or there are some things in him or her that I don't like. Anong mangyayari sa immigration status mo? Because you have to understand, when you arrive here, within 90 days, you have to get married or you have to go back and leave the country and go back to your home country. That's the very requirement of the fiancé visa. Ngayon, may mga iba na, sad to say, they get to cross the 90 day. They get married and you said, oh, hallelujah, at least I'm already married. Now I can have status in the US. Pero paano kung right after ng kasal nyo is itong pinakasalan mo who was very sweet, a very good provider, is bigla ka na lang kinukulong sa bahay. Sinasabihan ka that you should not go outside dahil I don't trust other men. They might just rape you or they might just lure you into this. They might just kidnap you and bring you somewhere else and I could not help you. So you should just stay inside the house. And then, dahil usually may mga kasama sila sa bahay nila, like this typically sa client ko na to, kasama yung aging and sickly na mother nung husband na US citizen. So, you turn out, dahil tayo, especially ng mga Filipino, we are naturally caring. We're naturally respectful of the elderly. We were designed and groomed to be caretakers ng mga elderly natin. And then here you are with all the willingness and all the love that you want to give to your mother-in-law who is sick and old. You take care of the mother-in-law. And years go by na nandyan ka lang sa bahay dahil hindi ka naman makapag-adjust pa ng status. After ng marriage nyo, hindi pa kayo makakakuha ng green card nyo unless and until tutulungan kayo and isusponsor kayo ng inyong US citizen or permanent resident spouse. That is the standard. Kumbaga, nakasalalay ang inyong green card sa petisyon ng inyong asawa na US citizen or permanent resident. What if, dahil gusto nilang kontrolin ka, hindi nila ifa-file yun? And in fact, tulad ng sinasabi ni Attorney Pam, they will even use it against you na dapat masunurin ka sa akin dahil kung hindi dahil sa akin, hindi ka nakapunta dito. Dahil kung hindi ka maging masunurin, hindi ko asikasuhin yung papel mo, magiging illegal ka, i-report kita sa police, ipapadeport kita. So kung ikaw ang nasa sitwasyon na yan at wala kang kasama, wala kang friends, wala kang neighbors na nakakakilala sa iyo, anong gagawin mo? Susunod ka. And you will endure kung anong klaseng treatment ang nasa loob ng bahay na yan. And sadly, sa kliyente ko na to, for the next 3 years of her life, naging literally caregiver siya ng kanyang mother-in-law. Walang bayad, walang income, wala. It's just all about dahil nandyan ka, wala kang choice. And ang sabi naman niya sa akin, I don't really care, attorney, kasi I do it lovingly because I respect my mother-in-law. Pero the fact na limited ang option mo dahil nakakulong ka sa bahay, that's another story. And now, years went by and, as expected, namatay ang mother-in-law. I tell you, within the week nang namatay ang mother-in-law, anong ginawa ng lalaki, ng US citizen husband? Dinala siya sa lawyer's office. Ang sabi sa kanya, we will go there to the lawyer's office to fix your papers. Lo and behold, pagdating sa law office, ang sinabi sa kanya is i-divorce siya. Dahil unconsummated daw ang marriage. Wala daw nangyari sa kanila na physical, na sexual. Ang totoo naman yan is, sabi niya sa akin, attorney, I've been very willing. I love him. I mean, bakit hindi naman ako magko-consummate? Hindi naman ako mag-intercourse, sexual intercourse with him kasi he's my husband. Kaso nga, siya yung may erectile dysfunction. Hindi niya kakayanin dahil nga meron siyang sakit. So, ngayon, binaliktad siya doon sa law office na yun yung magiging rason para ma-divorce siya. Pero ang sa totoo niyan, actually, is yung lalaki yung hindi capable. Pero we all know that was just the reason for her to be divorced by the husband. At buti na lang may presence of mind naman siya. Hindi siya pumayag. Sinabihan niya yung lawyer na hindi naman po totoo. It's not true. And actually, we've been really legally married and been living together as husband and wife. Tapos nabigla siyang i-divorce, akala niya pupunta na finally ay kasuhin na yung immigration status niya. And hindi pala. In short, talagang dahil hindi na niya kailangan para sa nanay niya, talagang i-divorce na niya itong Filipina that came over from the Philippines. So, hindi siya pumayag and bigla, as usual, nagtatantrums yung lalaki, bigla siyang iniwan sa law office. So, mabuti na lang na reasonable naman yung staff ng law office na hinire ng lalaki. Sinabihan siya na you cannot leave him, like you cannot leave your wife behind her, pero still he went. So, anong nangyari sa Filipina? Buti na lang may mga nakilala siya doon ng mga Filipino-American group na nag-ano sa kanya, na mga Filipina na tumulong sa kanya at pinauwi muna siya sa kanilang bahay. So, ito yung sitwasyon na example natin. Dito papasok ang VAWA self-petition. In short, kung nasa sitwasyon kayo na nawalan kayo ng asawa who have been very abusive sa inyo, it's not yet too late and it's not the end of the world sa immigration journey ninyo. Dahil meron tayong tinatawag na VAWA self-petition. Ang VAWA self-petition stands for the Violence Against Women Act na ipinasa ng Congress ng US in 1994. So one thing that the VAWA law allows is it creates a pathway for those who come in on marriage sa US and still were not able to adjust status precisely because they were not helped or petitioned by their own US citizen and the spouse. So you are capable of doing your own self-petition under the VAWA if you are able to prove na na-comply mo ang lahat ng mga requirements ng VAWA. Meaning, hindi ka pa magiging illegal sa US dahil may karapatan kang mag-file ng VAWA on your own. Hindi mo na kailangan yung tulong ng asawa mo. So, unlike ang ordinary na procedure na sinabi ko kanina is pagdating nyo dito, pag nag-asawa na kayo, magfa-file ang inyong asawa ng petition, sasabihin niya sa government ng US na, hey, asawa ko na itong foreigner na ito, gusto ko magsama kami dito sa US at mag-start ng aming family together, so please allow her to stay. At ikaw naman, magfa-file ka ng iyong application for permanent residency status dahil ini-explain mo sa US government na gusto kong tumira sa US dahil nandito yung pamilya ko, nandito yung US citizen ko na spouse, magkakaanak kami or magkakaroon kami ng buhay together. So please allow me to stay as a permanent resident. Dapat ganun yung normal na nangyayari. Pero anong mangyayari kung ikaw ay hindi sinuportahan ng iyong asawa? Dito papasok ang ating VAWA self-petition. Attorney Pam, would you like to explain kung ano yung mga requirements nila na pwede nilang i-counter-check kung pwede silang qualified?
O kasi ang dami na actually hindi naman sobrang dami ng ng requirements. You have to be married to a US citizen or to a green card holder. It's the first thing. Dapat may marriage. Okay? Or merong tinatawag na intended spouse na actually akala mo married kayo, hindi pala. Kasi may iba siyang asawa, bigamous ba yung married niya. So akala mo in all sense of the word, married kayo. That's what you think. Pero actually hindi. Kasi meron siyang, at the time nung nagpakasal kayo, kasal na siya sa iba. O meron siyang marriage sa iba. Not necessarily dito sa US. Baka nandun sa Pilipinas meron. If you are married sa green card na Pilipino o US citizen na Pilipino noon, na actually married pa siya. So those, that's one thing. That's one ground. The second is yung siya, na dapat genuine yung relationship niyo. Yung anong ibig sabihin yan? Nung pumunta ka dito sa US, yung intention mo talaga is to start a family life with him. You need to magbubukod kayo, you will start to have a family. Yan yung intention mo when you come here. Hindi yung magpapakasal ako kasi gusto ko magtumira doon sa US. That should not be your intention. Your intention mo is to start living with him, to raise your family, to share your life. That's the intention. That creates a genuine marriage. Na yun talaga yung pinunta mo is to start a family. Yan. So and then the other requirements then is kung inaabuso hindi lang ikaw, kung kunyari kasama mo yung anak mo, pumunta dito yung anak mo, inaabuso rin yung anak mo. So that's also a grant for VAWA. Okay? So yung kung minsan kasi magtatanong, attorney, umalis ako ng bahay. Wala akong bitbit. Kahit passport ko hindi ko nakuha. O kung minsan sasabihin, attorney, damit lang yung bitbit ko. Wala akong evidence na ibibigay. So ano yung pwede kong gagamitin na mag-file ako? Yon. So most of the times ganun yung question ng victim. Kasi doon naman talaga ganun naman talaga nangyari eh. Umalis ka ng bahay kasi hindi mo na kaya. The first intention of the victims is to leave. Aalis at susumbong either sa police o may pupuntahan silang ibang tao that they feel safe. Kasi hindi na sila safe sa bahay nila. So those are the initial na yan na intent. So ano yung mga documents na kailangan mo in relation sa requirements? That's the thing that So kailangan yung sinasabi ko relationship. So ano yan? May marriage certificate. Kung dito ka sa US, your attorney, yung abogado mo, pwede yang mag-request ng marriage certificate sa civil register dito or sa county register kung nasaan ka man. Pwede niyang i-retrieve, public document yan eh. So you don't have to worry about that. Kung nandun ka naman sa Pilipinas at pinaregister dun sa Pilipinas, pwede mo namang i-retrieve dun. Your attorney can do that also, na ma-retrieve yun. Yung mga death certificates, yung mga previous divorces, yung mga police record, kasi akala mo, mabuti siyang tao, yun pala, ikapang-5 ka na binugbog. May history na siya of abuse. Hindi mo lang alam. So, it's a good thing na your attorney can double check na baka meron siyang mga record ng ganyan, na may offense na siya, ganon. So, that's one thing na iti-check ng attorney mo. The other thing is, magpakita ka ng status ng ano ba yung ano mo. You have to prove kasi na US citizen or green card holder yung ano mo, yung husband mo or your wife na rin, no? Before I forget pala, Attorney Jane, hindi lang yung VAWA limited sa babae at lalaki na relationship, ha? Same-sex marriage is also included dito.
Yes, that's a good
Yeah, baka
emphasis.
nakalimutan ko. Oo.
As long
Baka
as there
nakalimutan.
was a married life together or a supposedly
oo.
intent to be living together as husband and wife.
Yan, oo. So, yung marriage certificate, kunin mo yan. Ano yung status niya dito? Kung green card holder siya, magre-request yung attorney mo niyan sa USCIS ng kopya ng green card niya. Or magre-request din ng birth certificate sa kung saan pinanganak yung ano mo, yung asawa mo. Public record din yan. So, pwede ng attorney mo makukuha yan. Those documents. Ngayon, let's just say, isang requirement is you have to live together as husband and wife. Hindi pwede na magbawa ka kasi yung asawa mo nandito sa US, nandun ka sa Pilipinas at hindi kayo nagsama sa isang bahay ever. Yun. So, kailangan magsama kayo. That's a requirement na that you have to reside together. Okay? It's hindi naman limited yan na kailangan may 5 years kayo na magsama kayo. Time is not a requirement. As long as you stay kahit isang araw, pwede. That you live together as husband and wife sa isang bahay. May residence. Yan. Hindi naman ibig sabihin na lahat na nangyayari sa bawa mo, sa bahay nangyayari. You have to live together as husband and wife, pero inaabuso ka sa labas ng bahay o nandun sa labas ng bansa, sa labas ng US. Kunyari, married na kayo, may green card ka na, no? Or let's say, pwede ka mag-travel kasi may advance parole ka. Pumunta kayo ng Mexico, nag-beach kayo doon, at doon kayo nag-away sa Mexico, doon kanya sinabunutan sa Mexico, tapos umuwi kayo balik sa bahay nyo dito sa US, abuso na yun. It doesn't mean na dito lang kailangan mangyari sa loob ng US yung abuso niya. Pwede yan mangyayari sa labas as long as married kayong dalawa at may residence kayong dalawa kung saan kayo uuwi at pupunta every single time. Yan. So that's a residence. So paano mo ipoprove yung residence? Ngayon. Yan. So kung meron kang bills sa bahay, gas, tubig, elektrisidad, dito yung gas kung sa atin meron tayong ang ng gas dito sa US may tubo yan. So meron yung parang electricity yan na dinidistribute sa each and every household. So pwede mo yang kunin or resibo ng cellphone mo or let's say membership mo sa library. Pwede ka magpa-member sa local library, may address doon nakalagay, pwede rin yan. Or yung resibo ng USCIS mo kung naka-file ka. Yan, pwede rin yan. So you have to think na mag-isip ka kung paano mo ipoprove na may residence ka dyan, may address ka sa bahay na yan. So importante yan na may residence ka. Kung meron kang mga anak, yung registration sa school, pwede mong magamit. Kung meron ka namang, if you go to church, kasi dito, kahit na, let's say, Catholic Church, may registration din dyan as parishioners. May listahan diyan kung sino yung asawa mo, sino ka, at saan yung address mo. Pwede mong kunin yan. You can collect those evidence also. Ngayon, the next thing is good faith na marriage. Yung intent mo to start a genuine relationship, may ipoprove yan. Yan. So dito na ngayon, papasok yung relationship nyo bago kayo kinasal at after kayo kinasal. Anong ibig sabihin yan? Ano yung relationship nyo? Kasi may mga conversations kayo, kung mag-chat kayo, pwede niyong gamitin. May mga pictures kayo, meron kayong pinag-uusapan while you are dating. Meron kayong, before, when you come over here, ano yung intention mo? Sino yung nakaalam? Dapat alam ng lahat na pupunta ka dito na fiancé visa at magpapakasal ka sa boyfriend mo or sa fiancé mo. Hindi pwede na walang nakaalam at pupunta ka lang dito. Mas mahirap yan kasi walang pwedeng mag-witness na alam ko pupunta siya na ganun magsa-start sila ng family. Na-meet ko rin yung fiancé niya. We also talk. So, yun ang mga one of those requirements. Ngayon, part of that requirement sa genuine marriage is anything related sa pera. Anong ibig kong sabihin? Bank accounts. Dapat may pangalan ka sa bank accounts niya. Ngayon, kung wala naman, kasi hindi kanya in-enroll at hindi kanya binibigyan ng pera, pwede mo siyang sabihin na ganon sa affidavit mo. So ngayon yan, I will discuss later on siguro kung anong laman ng affidavit, no? Pero the next requirement is dapat inaabuso ka. That you are financially abused, emotionally abused, psychologically abused, physically abused. Yan. So maraming kinds, there are a lot of kinds of abuse. Pwede verbal, pwede physical. Marami siya, pwedeng inaabuso ka, sinusulat pa sa'yo, tinitext pa sa'yo. Pwede yan, screenshot mo, pwede mong magamit yan. Or kung minsan sinasabi yung minumura ka sa kaibigan niya, narinig mo, yan, it's another form of abuse. Or ang pakitungo sa iyo parang hindi ka tao, kung mag-usap sila ng mga kaibigan niya. That's another thing na kadalasan sinasabi ng mga kliyente namin na gano'n. Minamaliit ka, minamaltrato ka na parang wala kang value. Yan. So, that kind of thing pwedeng gawin in public, pwedeng gawin sa bahay, pwedeng gawin in front of your friends or in front of his friends. Yan, nangyayari yan. So ngayon, what if, ano yung mga ebidensya na inaabuso ka na? So kung physical abuse yan, picturean mo lahat ng pasa mo or pupunta ka sa police station, mag-report ka. This is very, very, very important. Mag-report kayo kung meron kayong physical abuse, kung inaabuso na kayo. Meron kasi dyang help desk sa police station. Tutulungan kayo nila. So that's the primary thing na gagawin nyo. Kasi kung mag-report kayo sa 911 and naabuso kayo o tumawag kayo sa police, may record yan. Rini-record yan and you need that na nagsumbong ho kayo. So that's one thing. And then, kung pupunta kayo ng shelter, may record din yan na pumunta kayo ng shelter, na humingi kayo ng tulong kasi wala kayong matutuluyan, gabi na, wala kayong gamit na bitbit. So may record din yung shelter na yan. So you can also use that. Kung meron nakakita sa inyo na neighbor na magtumulong sa inyo, na willing naman na mag-help sa inyo, pwede nyong makikitungo, makikisuyo kayo kung pwede siyang mag-execute ng statement or affidavit kung ano yung nakita niya. Pwede yan. So that's very crucial. Pero siguro, Attorney Jane, what we need to discuss siguro is yung mga preventive measures. Ano yung gagawin mo pag dumating ka dito sa US? Kahit na, example, hindi naman lahat ng pumupunta dito binubugbog ng mga asawa nila. It's not that. Pero you should also prepare yourself just in case. Yun lang yun. It's normal to be cautious. Especially wala kang kakilala, bago ka sa area, wala kang source of income, hindi gaya dun sa Pilipinas, may kotse ka, may bahay ka, may trabaho ka, executive ka dun. Pag dumating dito, wala kang career. As in, sa bahay ka lang talaga, hindi ka pwedeng maghanap ng trabaho. You are, yung sinasabi ni Attorney Jane, really at the mercy of your husband. So ano yung mga gagawin mo? Ano yung mga extra steps to do that?
Yes, totoo yan kasi just like naman in every situation na nagigipit tayo, it always helps na may preventive measures tayo na hindi tayo malagay sa sitwasyon na yun na naiipit tayo, that we're pushed against the wall and we don't have any other options. So it's good to be aware. Number one is you are already at the first step because you're aware that these things are happening.
Yeah.
And you're opening your mind that you should be ready and at least help yourself to be removed from this situation. So number one is awareness that these things are happening. And then number two is how can you equip yourself na when you arrive here, you will not be in one corner and you won't have any other options. So just like in any other culture, having your support group is very important. So as soon as you arrive here, paano ka makakakuha ng sarili mong support group? Dahil wala ka namang pamilya dito, wala ka namang established na friends, wala kang common community na kakilala mo na sila. Well, first and foremost, Ang mga tao naman sa Amerika, especially tayo ng mga Filipino-American community, and for other nationalities, they always have a group, you know, and you can always find some friends along the way. First is know your surroundings, know your address. Ano yung malapit sa address mo ng mga associations, even churches. If you go to the church, habang maayos pa yung mga relationship nyo, kasi sa pagdating nyo, okay pa yan eh, dadalhin ka pa sa kung saan-saan, ipapakilala ka pa. If you can find, if you can find a Filipina, usually you will bump into someone, especially sa mga groceries or habang naggagala kayo. Just try to get their mobile numbers and their names and make sure that your husband or your spouse, as the case may be, knows that you have learned to know someone else. Kasi knowledge yan ng mga abusers that when they know that someone knows about your existence, na hindi sila masyadong mag-aabuso dahil alam nila may pagsusumbungan ka na. If you notice dun sa mga kinukwento ni Attorney Pam and me na it all starts with isolation. So, kung na-prevent mo na yung isolation na yan, malaking bagay na. So, you go to churches, make friends there, especially yung mga priest or yung mga pastors nila, they're always very willing to help. And then, find your common community, yung mga associations nyo dyan, or just yung mga kalahi natin, or common people who are always willing to also share what they know about the locality. Kasi, when you know how life goes on inside the community, mas marami kang options na malalaman. Okay, and then third, know the police station, where the location of the police, the contact details of the police.
That's very
of course,
important.
yung 911, common yan. And there will always be shelters for abused domestic violence victims. So, search, alam naman natin, very techy naman kayo. Hindi naman kayo nakapag-online relationship, hindi kayo techy. So, search in your Google Map or Safari Map, ano yung pinakamalapit na mga shelters, and take down notes ng mga contact details nila. Okay? And then, of course, number 4, tell your friends and your families about what's going on. Ang pinaka-problema kasi natin, sometimes, mostly from the Filipinas coming from the Philippines, they come here with that glorified image na dream come true ang coming to the US. But you see,
Everything is rosy.
everything is rosy until you're here and you see the reality. Please, kung meron kayong selected na trusted people, you don't have to broadcast it on social media, especially your parents or your closest of your siblings or your best friends. Tell them about where your whereabouts are, yung address nyo, yung contact details nyo, yung pinakamalapit na landmark sa inyo. Because when worst comes to worst at hahanapin ka, alam nila kung sino ang pwedeng pagsabihan at alam nila kung saan ka dapat hanapin ng mga pulis. Okay? And it also is a big help kapag nakakausap mo sila because they could tell you some suggestions of what you need to do. Kasi kung isolated ka, parang hindi mo na alam kung anong gagawin mo dahil you feel like there's no other way out. But if someone is talking to you, you will be open-minded at ma-remind ka na, hey, you're not alone. You still have other options. And of course, number 5, if you can prolong the relationship, which is not a guarantee dahil sa kwento na narinig nyo, 5 years, 8 years, pagdating dito, biglang nagbaliktad ang lahat. But it could still tell the some symptoms. At kapag may mga nakikita kayo na symptoms, please huwag niyong babaliwalain yun.
Disregard, oo.
Don't disregard because they could just be the tip of the iceberg. Na habang enjoy kayo, lumalabas nga yung abusive and yung mga foul languages, how much more pag nandito ka na and dependent ka sa kanila. So yun yung mga nakikita ko na mga preventive and practical measures, Attorney Pam, if baka may madagdag ka pa.
So, ako, I think I have some na if possible, have your own money. Okay? Kasi hindi ka pwedeng mag-exit kung wala kang sariling pera. If you come over here, have your own bank account nandun sa Pilipinas na in case na gusto mong umuwi, meron kang kukunan ng pera, pwede kang bumili ng ticket at umalis. Yan yung exit mo. So yan yung one of the requirements na gusto ko sanang i-ano, na dapat may sarili kayong pera, hindi kayo dedepende sa kanya. Kasi that's one form of control eh. That's one thing. Sa iba naman na hindi marunong mag-drive, please po, kung dito kayo sa US, walang jeepney po dito na nag-iikot kung saan kayo, magpapara lang kayo, hindi ganon. So kung minsan yung situation nyo or yung bahay ng fiancé nyo is in the middle of a rice field or corn fields, that's one thing na kailangan nyo rin mag-investigate din kayo, saan ba ako titira? Sino ba yung mga kasama ko dyan? You look at the area, you look at the location. Kasi kung minsan, they live in a farm place or farmland. Tapos, malayo yung next na tao, yung next neighbor nila, ilang farmland pa before ka makakaabot doon. I've had one client that I did, pumunta ako sa bahay. Nako, ako siguro kung magsisigaw ako, hindi ako maririnig ng neighbor. Kasi sa isang it's very far. So kung ikaw nasa Pilipinas na mahilig kang mag-usap sa neighbor mo o meron kang kausap palagi, you would feel really out of place dito, especially kung nagtatrabaho yung lahat na wala kang makausap, wala kang pwedeng kausapin kasi hindi naman sila available nagtatrabaho sila eh. So that's one of the reasons. Know your situation, know the behavior of your fiancé. Importante yan. That's part of getting to know each other. Pwede ko ba, can I live with him? Kung galit siya, ano yung first reaction niya? Is there any signs na nagsasabi na pwede siyang manumbat sa iyo kung wala ako, hindi ka nakapunta ng ganito? That's a clear indication na baka papunta ka dito, gagawin niya ganun din, na isusumbat niya sa iyo na ganun. Or ito yung sa atin sa ating kultura. We always look at everyone, ay maganda siya kasi he provides a lot. Siya yung nagbibigay ng pera and everything. Please think twice about that. Tayong Pilipino, hindi naman, kung meron tayong opportunity to work, pwede tayong mag-earn, pwede tayong makapaghanap buhay ng maganda as long as we work hard. So, hindi lahat ididepende mo sa fiancé mo. Hindi lahat magsasabihin mo na, ay, kailangan ko ng pera o kailangan ko ng cellphone. Siya yung pabibilhin mo ng cellphone. That's not how it should be. Kasi mag-isip siya. But pag pumunta siya dito, pabili siya ng ganito, pabili siya ng ganyan. Ano yung sa part ko? Ano yung benepisyo na pwedeng kukunin sa kanya? So ngayon, mag-iisip na yan. Siguro pwede ko siyang sa bahay na lang siya. Siya yung maglalaba, siya yung magmamlansya, siya yung mag-prepare ng pagkain. Kasi, that's the benefit he gets from you. Yan. So iba na yan. So to the extreme, it's part. Yung iba kasi nako-confuse din napapunta dito, attorney, ako yung nagtatrabaho lahat-lahat. Yes po, kasi wala po kayong katulong dito sa US at kayo lahat yung magtatrabaho dito. That's a fact.
That's a normal situation in the house.
Oo. So, sasabihin ng mga asawa nyo, if your husband says you have to help out in the house, you have to help. Kasi 50-50 po rito. Kung ano yung ginagawa ng lalaki, gagawin din ng mababae. So, that 50-50, yun na nga, 50-50 nga. Kung ikaw naman yung gumagawa ng 100%, iba naman yon. That's a different story. Pero kung pinapagawa ka niya, kung sasabihin niya, eto yung mga gawain mo sa bahay while I'm not here at ako yung tatrabaho, you clean up the house, you maintain this, and you do that. That's normal. Normal ho yan. Hindi ho kayo ginagawang katulong dito for that. That's normal na because give and take ho dito, if you're working outside, sino yung magte-take care ng household nyo? So both of you will do that. Kung may mga anak ho kayo, sino yung magbabantay ng mga anak nyo? Hindi na wala ho ditong lola, tita, insan na magbabantay sa mga anak nyong maliliit. Kayo ho ang gagawa nun. Kayo ho magmamanage ng oras nyo kung kailan kayo magluluto, manglalaba, mamamlansya, manglilinis. That's part of a normal work here. Iba kasi akala nila pagpunta nila dito, uupo lang sila. No, tatrabaho ho kayo. That's the normal. Pero kung sobra-sobra na ikaw na yung nagtatrabaho araw-araw, at siya naman nakaupo, nakachat lang kung saan-saan, that's a big question. Kasi ho mga lalaki dito, they are also required to work sa bahay. Nang ganon. So kung sila yung nagluluto, alam nila magluto dito. Sila yung naglalaba. They are taught with that. So kung iba namang usapan niyo na hindi ka puwedeng magpahinga kasi kailangan mong tapusin ang listahan niya, iba na 'yan, 'yan. So you talk it out. It's a very thin hairline kung ano yung normal na work dito sa loob ng bahay at ano naman yung abuso. Yung kung normal, let's say ikaw yung tatrabaho, ang hindi normal nagtatrabaho ka na nga, sinusumbatan ka pa o kung nagtatrabaho ka pa sasabihin ka pa na hindi, you're not cleaning very well or it's not not to my standard. So may dala pang mura, iba na 'yan. That's a different story. So, kadalasan when people come to us, medyo ano na siya 'di ba, medyo may problema na. Alam naman namin na attorneys na if you come to us and we do our consultation, we ask you a series of questions. So we will determine, may grounds pala ito. Ito hindi naman. So that's one of those things. 'Di ba, Attorney Jane?
Yes. And to add on that, actually, it's good that you emphasize na not because na pinagtatrabaho ka sa loob ng bahay is abuse na yan. No. The defining word of the law is battery or extreme cruelty. So, ang extreme cruelty na yan is very, very sensitive depende sa situation nyo. Pero as a human being, you will be able to define and feel it to yourself. Kung ito ba is extreme na, hindi ito normal na nangyayari sa isang pamilya, then you might have to start thinking, baka VAWA, I might be becoming a VAWA victim now. Kung nalilimit na yung self-growth mo, kung nalilimit na yung social interaction mo, lalo sa pamilya mo and sa friends nyo, pag may physical na na-abuse or kahit hindi physical, pag nililimit na yung capacity mo mag-isip para sa sarili mo, that could also be mental control and torture and cruelty. You know, pag minumura ka, minamaliit ka o yung anak mo o yung pamilya mo o yung kultura mo minamaliit na just to disable you from growing, that could be extreme cruelty. Depende kasi yung aspeto kung paano natin yan madidescribe sa iyong mga ebidensya. So, ang isa ko pa na gustong i-connect doon sa sinabi ni Atty. Pam is yung financial aspect. It is so easy to say na totoo, especially Filipinos, we really don't choose work. Masipag tayo, we are skillful. There's always, the beauty in the US, there's always work for you. The problem is, habang nag-transition ka, while you're transitioning from being a fiancé to a spouse and adjusting your status to a green card holder, that's where your options are limited. Because as I have explained ordinarily, you must have a petition by your spouse and you must have an application for permanent residency and then ask for employment authority. Then that's the time you can start working and earn for yourself. Okay? So, pag hindi nangyari yan, you are at the mercy of your spouse unless and until you're able to file your VAWA self-petition. That way, you can also get your employment authority and be able to work legally in the U.S. So, there's that crucial situation where the preventive action that Attorney Pam and I described could be helpful to save you from a long time misery and even death. Or self-harm. May mga kliyente sa Attorney Pam, she just jumped onto the bridge dahil hindi niya nakakayanin. So we don't want that to happen to you. So awareness and preventive actions are important because especially if your family and friends know what's going on, they would, I'm sure, willingly tell you that, okay, I'm gonna buy a ticket or I'm gonna send someone to pick you up there or I'm gonna ask the police to do a welfare check on you. And then that will free you up from the confinement. Malaking bagay yun. And you know that you have someone to lean on to. So please don't hide the reality. You don't have to tell everyone. You just have someone whom you trust, your family or your closest of your friends to help you with that. So before we run out of time, I think we can discuss more further if you want to comment and ask further details about this. Attorney Pam and I will be able to come up with a more detailed discussion about VAWA. We're only doing this to bring awareness and to give you some general concept about what you can do if you're a domestic violent victim and you still don't have a legal immigration status in the US. So again, I just want to emphasize na there are three major group of people who can use the VAWA self-petition. If you're answering yes to any of this, then you might be able to avail of the VAWA self-petition. So number one, are you or were you married to a US citizen or lawful permanent resident? Okay, that's the group of the spouses. Number two, are you or were you the child or stepchild of a US citizen or lawful permanent resident? Yes po, kahit mga anak, pwede pong maging self-petitioning sa VAWA. We can discuss that further later on. And number three, are you or were you the parent of a US citizen or of a US citizen only, hindi to qualified sa permanent resident? Yes, kahit po yung parents ng ating US citizen, they can be considered for VAWA self-petition. Dahil may mga nangyayari po, may mga US citizen tayo na naging naturalized na sila, they bring over their parents, hindi nagiging subject ng abuse sa bahay, yung mga parents nila. You as a parent can also do the self-petition. So I hope na we have given you some general knowledge about VAWA self-petition. So if you have further questions, feel free to call us in our office. We can do free video consultations regarding your situation. Or if you have a lot of comments here, it will encourage Attorney Pam and I to also do another video and address the questions that you have, specific questions that you have. And although they may not be legal advice per se, but at least it will give you a general idea about your situation.
Yan. So if I can add the last one na detail. For those na rin po na humihingi, kung sa inyo sila humihingi ng tulong, please help out din po. Kasi these are people na or these are women na wala na sa nila sa isip na kung sino na lang pwede nilang puntahan na makatulong. Most of the times po, either sa grocery or sa mall, they are looking for Filipinos na pwede nilang kausapin because of their issue. So if you have that, try to be patient and try to understand. Sa mga relatives din naman po sa Pilipinas, hindi ho lahat maganda dito. There are things na nangyayari, so be mindful din po with your relatives o yung mga anak nyo or mga granddaughters na nandito. So if there's anything, talk it out. It's all about communication po.
Yes.
So thank you.
And if worse comes to worse, na usually kasi the abuser will cut off communications.
Yeah, that's true.
So
True
this
talaga
is
yan.
the time when the fiancé or the spouse coming over from abroad should also do the preventive actions that we already advised. Try to do some research on how you can communicate kung sakaling kunin yung phone nyo. You can write a letter or kung meron kayong common friend na ma-meet along the way habang maayos pa ang lahat. There will always be a way. And of course, if you are a religious person like us, always prayers for discernment, prayers for protection will always be there for you to help you out. Okay, so I think we will end our VAWA self-petition vlog for the moment, but we would be happy to come back and discuss further details if you want us to do so. So just comment here, and then we'll be happy to also do free video consultations. If you know someone who is suffering like that and they cannot reach out to us so that we can at least try to talk about it. Okay, bye for now.
See you
Have a very
next
good
week.
day wherever you are. And thank you, Attorney Pam.
Thank you, Attorney Jane. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.